All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to CoalitionM. My name is Carson Lopez. I'll be your host tonight, and I have not so much a guest as a co-host for tonight's. This is going to be a special. I'm going to call it a special. I'm going to call this. I'm going to call tonight a Carson special. Maybe I'll come up with something else because that sounds like something from a cheap restaurant. So, what I'm going to be doing tonight is I found some cool articles from a website called rightwingwatch.org. And I thought it would be interesting to just read through it live. So I haven't read these articles before. I just picked some really juicy titles because, I think I like to pretend that I'm a good listener and that I really am not biased against conservative ideas. I just don't think that's really true, and I don't see the point in wasting your or my time pretending that it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be outraged and offended by everything that these articles have to say, and if you think that it's funny or worth listening to, or if it offends you and you like that kind of thing, go ahead and keep listening. Other than that, Jaron, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing lovely.
Are you excited?
Yes.
The reason I invited Jaron is because here's what our relationship is. He's basically the devil's advocate to everything I say or do or think or feel. So it's really actually a relief because got to keep that ego as small as possible.
Yes,
and with me, it's kind of hard because I know how awesome I am. And so I need someone like Jaron around to say you're fat and ugly and stupid and no one likes you. That's okay. I like it. Anyway, so let's start off with our first article.
Yes.
The title being, Janet Mefford cites Holocaust poem to explain defense of gay conversion therapy. And this was uploaded February 12th of 2018 at 5:12 p.m. by Jared Holt. Okay. Religious right radio host Janet Mefford, I'm going to have to look her up, cited a poem about Jewish persecution during the Holocaust to defend her support of gay conversion therapists battling laws that would make the abusive practice illegal. Last Friday, Mefford dedicated a segment of her show to defending faith-based gay conversion therapy, which she attempted to rebrand as reparative therapy. Oh, I have not got my notebook out. I need to take notes.
Reparative therapy. Okay.
Let me take notes on that. Just give me 1 second. Open to a blank page.
Okay. New vocab word for you.
New vocab word, reparative therapy.
It'll be on the test.
I'm going to have to read Miss Mefford's syllabus. This sounds exciting. I would like to take this class. So, reparative therapy. Okay. And claiming that LGBTQ activists have told all kinds of lies about conversion therapy. Mefford says that liberals were, quote, on a roll, unquote, in making conversion therapy for minors an illegal practice in various states and faulted Christians who were not standing with so-called reparative therapists. They're going to come after the churches, she said. They're going to come after biblical counseling. They're going to come after any sort of spiritual counseling, no matter how mild it is, no matter how inoffensive it is in terms of the processes that are used. They're going to come after us next. Ooh, that's ominous. Ominous quote. I'll return to that later. She then cited the famous Martin, oh Lord, it's a German last name, for sure, poem, First They Came is what it's called, which was written in the aftermath of the Holocaust. I know this poem, which was written in the aftermath of the Holocaust to explain why she was defending gay conversion therapists. Let me just show you what this poem is, okay?
So you know this? You have
yeah, let me. I'm sure that you know it too because it's often shared. when things aren't going the way that people want them to go.
I see.
First They Came poem. Okay. And there he is, Martin Niemöller. Okay, here's the poem. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was... Oh, I'm sorry. I've been misreading this poem the whole time. Back up. First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. Okay, so that's the poem. Very profound and scary. Anyway, so the last little few lines of the article. So we're going to stand with them now. It's kind of like the old first they came for the reparative therapists, and I didn't stand out because I wasn't a reparative therapist. It goes kind of along those lines, Mefford said. And they have a little podcast. What she said in the podcast. It's like 2 minutes. I'm not fixing to listen to it, but wow. So first of all, I love when conservatives or Christians will say things like they're persecuting us because with their gayness, like that. They don't say that. I'm sure some of them have, but that's what they mean. They mean like how dare you not like us trying to change you? That's persecution. Like that somehow. That's like, it's like when you hear about some boss like groping his secretary and she told him to stop and he was like, what's it gonna be? Are we not gonna be able to harass anyone in the office anymore? This is violation of freedom of speech and sexual prowess. I don't know what they're going with here, but so let's start off with reparative therapy, which is already offensive because we know what they're talking about, right? We know they're talking about gay people and fixing them. Yes. So I don't know why they won't just call it gay conversion. Maybe they don't. They probably don't even like the word gay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know that the Carson special, apparently, it's a trap. I was set up, and now I have to defend conversion therapy.
You do not have to defend conversion therapy, but you do have to talk to me about it. Because
okay,
you can explain to me where they're coming from, which you're really good at.
My hardest.
Okay, you might want to take your coat off. It's going to get hot in here.
It's getting a little hot. Got the workout.
Already sweating.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
So I think so. My question is she trying to she calls it reparative therapy, right?
Right.
So is she trying to branch off from conversion therapy and
no, I don't think so.
Different?
I think this is just. Well, I mean, I haven't listened to what she says, but she's rebranding it, is what the article says. So she's not necessarily saying this is reparative therapy is different from gay conversion therapy. She's just saying here's a better sounding word for it.
Yeah.
I think it's because it makes it sound more legit, even though therapy in general is supposed to be reparative, so you don't need that, so it's redundant. You don't need reparative in front of the word therapy, unless it is a particular type of therapy that includes... Oh, God. Well, I don't even know. Honestly, I haven't researched this, so I don't know the difference between the rumors and what they really do to people. I know what they used to do. I don't know what they do anymore. I know that they used to try to, how to describe this? Kind of, have you ever read Clockwork Orange or ever seen the movie or anything?
No, I do not. I have not, but you can continue with your analogy.
So what let me explain what happens in the book. So basically this guy is a psychopath and he kills people. He's a teenager and the society wants to fix him. So what they do is...
No spoilers.
Right. I won't tell you what happens in the end. Okay. So what they do is they start, they sit him down in a chair and they force his eyelids open. So they peel his eyelids back and they make him watch Nazi propaganda. Okay. And he's cool with it, whatever. Like he's fine because he's crazy and has no emotion or empathy for anyone. So he's fine with it. But then, they won't let him not blink. So he has to watch this. So they're putting tear drops in his eyes to moisturize so that they won't shrivel up and fall out of his skull. So they're making him watch this, and then later they start giving him they start injecting him with something that'll make him sick, so that when he watches this violence, they'll also show him like violent movies and violent scenes from shows and things like that, so that when he watches it happen, he feels sick. So he's developing an emotional and a physical response. Well, maybe not emotional, but a physical response to violence.
Yeah.
Okay, and so they do this to him for so long, and then they take him out of the chair, and this is like months later, and they put him in front of a woman, and he's a very well-known misogynist. He assaults women, rapes them, anyway, and she's completely naked. I think completely naked. Maybe she's wearing some underwear, but anyway, so he knows he has this urge to hurt her, but when he starts getting ready to do it, he feels sick, and he can't do it anymore. So society goes, oh, we fixed him because he's not going to hurt anybody because he has a physical impulse to throw up whenever he wants to commit a violent act.
Yeah.
So what they would do in conversion therapy is there's like a word for it. I can't think of it right now. So what they would do is they would show the gay person or the bisexual person pictures of the same sex naked or something, just attractive pictures to them, and then give them pills to make them sick, so that eventually they would not, whenever they would try to see or feel that sexual desire for the same sex, they would throw up, so that they wouldn't do that act anymore. And so they call that, oh, we fixed the gay, because they're not going to do gay things anymore because they can't help themselves because they'll be sick if they try, So I know they used to do that. I would hope they don't do that to people anymore, but I know.
How long ago do you know?
So around like insane asylum,
I see.
when institutions were insane asylums and not institutions. So I couldn't tell you what time period that falls in, but so I want to say like 40s, 50s, 60s. That's what I want to say. Maybe 70s and 80s actually. Okay. I mean, probably from around like the 30s up to now, or up to when it's being now criminalized, made illegal.
All right.
So,
because I know we had GSA ended up having like a speaker who went through conversion therapy, and he talked about it and his experience about it.
Really? What did he say?
It was along the lines of that. I know he said that when they were doing it to him, they would like show him pictures of like two men like holding hands or whatever, but they would like put his hands like in ice. That was like when he like they did that for however long they did it, and that way when he would like touch another man, he would like his hands would get like all cold.
Was this voluntary that he put himself?
His parents did it. This when he was little.
Oh my God.
And his parents put him through it, but yeah.
So yeah. I don't really know where to start in terms of why that's inhumane. I will say this. I understand why they're doing it.
Okay.
I know where they get it from. What I don't understand is why they can't understand why we don't like it.
Yeah,
like,
that is a fair...
like, you can't just torture people because you don't like who they want to have sex with. I mean, and I think that some people put themselves through it.
Yeah.
And I will say to each their own, even though I don't agree with that.
Yes, yeah.
But I will say that, like, if you want to put yourself through that because you are convinced there is something wrong with you because of something that a book or your pastor said to you, okay, if you want to. Like,
yeah. So I have a question for you. In her thing, I know, like, the poem you read was like, they came for the whatever.
They came for all these people, but I didn't stand up for them because it wasn't my business.
Is her thing is that they're coming for
reparative therapists.
But she's not a reparative therapist.
She's not.
So what are they afraid? Oh, they'll come for the. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So she's saying they're gonna. Let me read that ominous quote again.
Yes.
they're going to come after she rewrote the poem to fit her own narrative.
Uh-huh.
She says they're going to come after the churches, they're going to come after the biblical counseling, they're going to come after any sort of spiritual counseling, no matter how mild it is, no matter how inoffensive it is in terms of the processes that are used. They're going to come after us next. So let's break that quote down a little bit.
Yes. So that's why I was wondering, like, is she like doing something that isn't conversion therapy? Because she's like, well, we have, like, no matter how small are the things that we do.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, yeah, so let's talk about it. So let's talk about this quote. Let's go with the first sentence. They're going to come after the churches.
Yes.
I don't know what that means, because there are more churches than there are hospitals in most rural areas.
That's true. Yeah.
I would love to actually compare
And
the number of churches from hospitals in the world.
Is she afraid that they'll come and, like, get rid of the churches?
I don't know what she's picturing.
I think, yes, America's built on religion. I don't see anyone taking the churches down.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has. I don't even think atheists care that you have a church built. Like the building itself. What are we gonna do? You think we're gonna burn your church down?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm not gonna say that never happens, because it probably does. Churches burn, and I'm sure people are angry at someone who's inside the church, so they're gonna
do something
awful.
People are crazy. Yes.
People are crazy. What I'm picturing, and I didn't listen, and I should really listen to her because she sounds fascinating. They're going to come after the churches. Do you think that, like, I'm picturing torches, I'm picturing a mob, and I'm picturing that Frankenstein is inside with his Bible, crouching behind the altar.
The churches. I feel like that would be like the last thing. It's like we do everything else and then we make our way to the church. We weaken it.
Right. What are we even gonna do? Are we gonna? Is she implying that we're gonna kill everyone inside?
I think she's talking about like the not like the structure, but like just the concept. The concept, okay. Maybe, of like church.
They're going to come after the churches.
So
since she's conservative, obviously, and not just conservative, but GOP, I'm guessing. So Grand Old Party. So the really ultra
gotcha.
conservatives. I'm assuming she thinks that people not wanting the church to meddle in their business is somehow persecution of Christians in the church. So it's like if someone were to preach on the street and like no one's listening, whatever, and then they feel like they're really doing something, and then someone says, "Will you just shut up?" and they're like, it's like if you know, have you ever seen that video where this teacher is about to like wrestle her student to the ground, and he like pushes her over and she falls down and pretends to faint. That's kind of what I'm picturing right now, that she probably thinks, and people who go to this site probably think that since we don't want you stuffing your Bible down our throat, that must mean we're trying to crucify you, literally.
Well, you know, I mean, you have to imagine, right? I'm assuming she's a religious person. I think it's based on the context of the article.
Probably.
It's safe to say she's very religious.
Yeah.
She like
very
this
Christian.
Is something that if you're like I'm gonna put quotations about like real Christian.
Okay.
Like if you like dedicate your life to this, like you believe that what you're saying, like this is for the better of I'm doing this to help people. I'm doing no wrong here. And then to have someone like you're trying to help someone and them say, don't do this. And like, oh, you don't want me to help you now? And then I think that might be where they feel like, but what do you mean? We're just here trying to help people.
Right.
Why are you going to tell me to be quiet?
Right.
I'm just...
So, you're probably right. She probably equates reparative therapy with charity. And she probably thinks that...
But the thing is, like, I don't know exactly, like, what her thoughts necessarily are on, like, reparative therapy in the sense of, like, does she want this to be something everywhere, or does she just want it to not? Like,
I don't know.
She's like, they're attacking it. It's like maybe if like no one just like, okay, we're not gonna do this. Like, is she mad that, or not mad, but I guess scared because once they come for reparative therapy, no, she's terrified. They're gonna come for her.
You could be both.
She's not. I think she's not mad. I haven't read the article. Well, you read it aloud, but She's just a little scared. She's
She's
just terrified.
scared.
She wants the
What
church
is she
to still
scared
be
they're
there.
gonna? That's what I'm
Like
saying. What is she
she's
scared that we're gonna
feeling that
do?
This is like a slippery slope. If you will.
Right.
First, I think the order of things are a
First,
little
they're
weird.
not gonna let us convert
Like, I
their
think
children to get straight.
Well, you have to think. It's like, okay, conversion therapy is probably it's the worst. Like that's
Yeah.
as bad as it's gonna get. But she's saying is, all right, if we go after conversion therapy, then any type of spiritual therapy.
Okay, yeah.
You know,
So,
so
right.
like that's
So
the
now we're
part-
getting into more of the
So
quote,
I-
which
that's
is
what I'm
like,
like,
then they're gonna go after biblical
Does
counseling.
she do biblical? Like maybe she's just a biblical.
Mm,
I don't. That's
I don't
what
know.
I'm saying.
I think she's
'Cause I
just
don't know.
saying in general that if they go after reparative therapists, they're gonna go after everything that
Mhm.
we love and
Hold
cherish
dear,
and
yes,
hold
yes,
dear
yes.
to our hearts. It's just not true. Is the problem? Nobody cares that you're a Christian. Nobody cares where you worship or
Like the
who
church
you
part, I
go
do agree.
to.
I don't. She should not be worried. I think
She should
she's-
not be
she's
worried.
Safe.
The church is probably the last thing
The
on
last
anybody's
thing.
mind
That's what
that
I'm
they
saying.
want
Like,
to
that
tear
is-
down. That's not
That
okay.
if anything goes last, it will be the churches. So you have time.
You have
What's
time.
her name?
Her name is Janet Mefford.
Janet. Yeah, Janet. Don't worry about the churches. They were here way before America. They'll be here probably way after. You're safe. You are good.
Yep, she's fine. You're fine. So they're going to go after spiritual counseling, no matter how mild it is. What does that mean?
So like, I think she's saying just like counseling spiritually in general. So let's say that you're having like marital problems,
Right,
and there's
which
like
is usually-
counseling them through the church. I don't necessarily know. I'm
There is,
assuming.
yeah. Usually, churches have like their own. Sometimes their pastors will
Yeah.
be counselors. I don't know if these people ever actually have degrees in
I
therapy
don't
or
know.
counseling or psychology.
Well, the Bible is what they get there. I'm not
I
gonna. Let me
guess
stop. They might
so.
actually be.
Some of them, I'm
That's
sure
what
they
I'm
do,
saying,
but I
and
don't
they
think
like
it's
the
illegal
Bible,
if they
so.
don't.
I see. Because I guess they're not really charging for their service. Do they charge for their services, or is it just like, oh, you're part of the church?
I think
I'm here to
it
help,
depends
sort
on
of
if you
thing.
go to their church. Because when I was a Christian, I did go to a therapist who was part of a different church, so I did have to pay. But I don't know if that was just because he makes people
But
pay.
was it like a therapist like through the like? Did he have like his own like? Obviously, like he was religious, but like he wasn't like I'm the church's therapist sort of thing. That's what. Or was he just a
I
therapist?
think so.
that-
No,
okay.
I think he was like the church's therapist.
Got
Like
you.
they like
Did he
people
have a
go to
degree?
him. Did he have a degree? I don't know. That's
I
the
see what
thing.
you're
I think
saying.
he did.
Okay.
But because he really didn't bring the Bible into most things. Like he
Yeah.
really did. So
He was actually like a therapist that just
yeah.
happened to.
So I think maybe it can be both.
Mhm.
Maybe sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
Yes.
Maybe sometimes they take classes
Mm-hmm.
and
or some sort of like
and the
online,
Bible college or wherever they
Whatever,
go
yeah.
gives them like a little certificate that says you are now
an ordained minister.
eligible
to
to
marry people. Yeah.
to
yeah, like
marry people, to counsel people. I don't know how that works exactly.
Okay.
But I would say if you're gonna counsel people in the way that they want to be counseled, you know, spiritually, biblically, whatever,
Yeah.
I see no problem with that.
I don't either.
When you are bringing people in, children, children. Let's talk about the children first. When you're bringing children in and putting their hands in ice, when they look at a picture of men holding hands, first of all, did he say that worked? Did he
What?
say that when he saw men holding hands, like when he ever tried to hold men's hands, he would get
Yes.
cold? He would,
Yeah,
really?
And then there was even I think they did something with electricity where
But that's kind of the point of holding hands,
Yeah.
right? Is to get warmer.
but like his hands would like if
His
it was
hands
it
would
was like
get
if it was
cold.
like a man
Really?
it would get cold.
Wow.
And then he says like even to this day like some of the stuff they did will like still like work on him. Like he said
Oh my god.
something about like electricity. I don't know exactly what they did to his hands with electricity, but it was along the same lines. He's like if he touches like a man sometimes it'll be like really I don't know exactly like there was
Oh my
certain
god.
like things that triggered it, but he said even to this day sometimes it hurts and stuff. So yeah.
It's just I don't have any anger for it. Like I definitely have some anger under the surface, but right now I'm just so sad
Yeah.
that is something that happens to people, and not just people who go in there. And I don't know which is sadder, honestly, the people who put their kids in it, or the people who go in there because they think there's really
they need
something
to
wrong
do
with
it.
them and they need to do this to be better.
Mm-hmm.
I will ask, is he still gay?
Yes.
Okay,
he's,
so it doesn't even work So you're torturing these people,
Yeah.
and yet they still need love and affection from who they want love and affection
He's,
from.
yeah, I think he's married, I believe.
To a man.
I believe so, yes.
Did he say anything about, did he like try to be with women after that? Like, how did that go?
I honestly do not remember. I don't believe so, but it is possible.
Okay.
His name is Sam.
Sam.
He works in the White House.
Does he?
Yeah, he wears heels too. These are just things. I'll show you a picture after, Carson. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll show you a
I would love
Mm-hmm.
to, delve more into that. Him specifically as a person in the current White House, current administration,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Trump administration. Okay,
Yeah. He
well.
has a contract where Mike Pence can't be in the same room as him. It's amazing. Anyways, I'll talk to you
my
about it later.
God.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That sounds amazing. So her ominous quote about they're gonna come after us. She realizes she's comparing Nazis coming after Jews and anyone who wasn't them, and killing them and torturing them and starving them and beating them to death and raping them, to you can't do this to my child. That's what she's comparing right now, and she thinks that's acceptable and
look, I'm gonna
appropriate.
let me get behind Janet for a second.
Okay, you get behind Janet.
So
'cause
I'm gonna take the stance as she, at the moment, is not a reparative therapist. She's
no,
like,
I wouldn't say that. Yeah.
she's like, she does some sort of spiritual counseling of some sort. And reparative therapy is like the ugly stepchild or something. I don't know. It's like a cousin of what she does. And she's saying that, like you also have to think like she doesn't. I don't think she believes reparative therapy is as bad as we obviously think it is.
Right.
By no means.
She obviously thinks that we are
liberals
and
that have the
gay
problem,
people
yeah.
are
Right.
making up things.
I think she's saying that they want to like remove, like, this is like part of her industry, if you will. And if they're removing one part, what's to stop them from getting rid of all of it? Like she's having like
Nothing.
this crisis where it's like, she could be out of the business. You know what I mean? And while us are like, well, reparative therapy is something that needs to go. It's a real problem.
It's barbaric. It's actually barbaric, and you need to stop.
I think she may not. She obviously doesn't see it as a problem. She's like, they're just going after the churches and what. And I think that's more so the problem, is she doesn't understand maybe why we think it's so bad. So I don't know.
Something else she says before that is liberals were on a roll in making conversion therapy for minors an illegal practice in various states, and faulted Christians who were not standing with so-called reparative therapists. Faulted Christians who... Oh, she faulted Christians who are not standing with so-called reparative therapists. So I think it's interesting that she mentions conversion therapy for minors.
Yes.
Because I don't know, and I should really just listen to the frickin' what she says. I don't know if she means minors as in the gay community, or minors as in black people, African American people, Hispanic people, Latino people. I don't know what she's talking about. Is she talking about culture, race, ethnicity?
Like minors as in people under 18 is what I'm imagining.
Minors, so young people.
Yeah, I think that's...
Okay.
What did you read it at? Like minorities?
Like minority,
no.
like
I think she's,
minors.
Yeah.
So
People
I
under
just read
18.
that wrong. So minors, as in young people.
Yes.
You have got it so right, Miss Mefford. We are on a roll in making that illegal for minors to practice, because you know what? It's not legal for minors to pretty much do anything but go to school. And you know why that is? Because they are not adults who can make their own decisions. And so oftentimes, like this guy Sam, he was, that's called being forced, just so you know, forced into... sitting there with his hands in ice water, whatever it was, in ice blocks, because his parents didn't like his sexuality. And she wants to know why that's so offensive. And I'll tell you, it's because it's child abuse. I don't know how else to put it. To make them feel better about themselves. You're terrible.
The Bible. You take away the therapist. And if that therapist was a parent, and you were to walk in on them, and you're like, what are you doing to your child? It's like, I'm teaching them a lesson.
That's a great point that you
think,
make, is that if you take away the Bible and you just walk in on some kid.
If you like walk in on a parent like forcing their child's hand in ice as they look at a picture of, let's say, candy because they have a problem brushing their teeth.
Exactly,
and
there you go.
Cavities.
And it's like,
well,
you're
now every time you
making
look
them...
at a piece of candy, your hands will freeze.
Mm.
It's a little unnerving, if you will.
Yeah, it is very creepy and very unnecessary, and that's why we're making it illegal.
Yeah.
So I hope that
Poor Janet. She's terrified.
Janet is terrified that we're coming after her Bible. You know what? I don't
so.
think atheists care about your Bible. I think they care about what people do with it.
Yeah,
what you
do with it.
I think, personally, I don't think the Bible is an interesting book. And I was talking to someone on Patreon about this because he's a Christian, but he's kind of like in the more liberal, on the more liberal side, so not really a biblical Christian.
Gotcha.
And he was saying, even atheists think that it's still interesting. And I'm like, well, I'm an atheist and I don't think it's interesting. And he's like, but how? And I was like, well, I don't think the Odyssey is interesting either. I think it's a cool story. I'm not going to sit there and read it and be like, oh, this is amazing. I don't care. I also don't think that Romeo and Juliet is a romantic story.
Yeah, that's an opinion that you've now placed upon all atheists.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm just saying, like, I think I'm just saying, whatever. I'm not coming for your Bible. I don't think it's useful in general. Maybe for, like, I don't know. I guess sometimes, even if you're an atheist, you can use a parable in there or something to teach a lesson. Okay, sure, whatever. But trying to live by the things that are commanded of people in that book is ridiculous. Of course, we're going to come after that. You can't. What's not in the Bible?
Reparative therapy.
Ooh, that's right, because you're just supposed to kill them.
Well,
that's in the Bible. You're just supposed to kill them. Their blood shall be upon them, is what it says.
There you go, Janet.
So, Janet, maybe you're doing it wrong.
Put down your pen and paper and pick up. I'm not going to finish that.
People are going to think we're like, just kill us.
No, don't.
And then we're going to die. And
just so people are aware I am gay.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm also gay. Or queer, whatever you want. I don't really think it's your business. Okay, we can move on to the next
Janet,
article.
Yeah, don't worry, Janet.
We've spent a good half an hour on that first one. Okay. Chuck Norris's new project.
Oh, I thought this was by Chuck Norris.
No, it is by Brian Tashman.
Okay.
I love this picture of him. Chuck Norris's new project, Fighting Creeping Sharia. Do you know what that is? Sharia law?
Yes, okay. I do.
All right. Let's move on then. This was in April of 2011. April 18th, 2011 at 10:03 a.m. After railing against, so I don't know any of the context around this. After railing against Obama's purported attempts to wean Christianity out of public life.
Interesting.
I'm going to take a quick guess and say that didn't happen.
I'm
going to write that down. I'm going to write that down. I quote, wean Christianity out of public life. Okay, continuing. Chuck Norris now is warning of the supposed threat of religious involvement in government. Of course, in this case, the threat comes from Islam.
I see.
In his WorldNet Daily column, Holy Week, Holy Sharia, Part 1, Norris begins his investigation into creeping Sharia law.
Wait, time out. I have a question. So,
ready?
So Chuck Norris has his own.
I was about to say. Chuck Norris, what are you doing?
Wait, he has his own, weekly article he writes? For who? Is he?
Says WorldNetDaily.com. Hang on, let me make sure this is real.
Is this like another Chuck Norris?
Is there another Chuck Norris? WorldNet Daily, here we go.
He must not be up to much,
Website is an American news and opinion website, an online news aggregator which is described as fringe and far right, as well as politically conservative. No dip. Okay, so Chuck Norris is now...
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look
I didn't know that.
Later.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you can continue.
Yeah, that's okay.
I just wait a minute.
He recommends the book Muslim Mafia.
Okay.
Which alleges that radical Muslims are infiltrating the government through the Congressional Internship Program. And says... It says he plans to write at least 4 more articles as part of his expose into the menace of Sharia. Okay, let me pause here. Sharia law is awful.
Yes,
okay?
yes, yes.
Sharia law is cutting off a woman's hand if she steals. Okay?
Isn't
Let's
that
just
like a
clarify
set of
that.
like laws and rules? Like I know the middle. I don't know exactly where in the Middle East they do it, but they follow it very closely.
It's
Okay, just making sure.
yeah, it's kind of along the same lines of like the Taliban, Muslim, Talibanism. So like
Gotcha.
extremists, right? Not necessarily terrorists.
But
Definitely can be.
Just some very, I guess, to us
Some very
Americans,
unnerving, very
yes,
scary things happen in
that-
this, according to
yeah,
this law,
okay.
that should be right. Okay. Norris's only, this is italicized, only evidence of creeping Sharia is a Florida judge's ruling upholding a religious arbitration scheme. Make sure to read Sarah Posner's thorough debunking. Interesting. So I guess this isn't true. An Alabama bill to ban Sharia law, whose chief sponsor admits he doesn't even know what Sharia law is.
That's Alabama at its finest.
And then Obama advisor's statements on misconceptions about Sharia law. Here reads the quote. The main point here is this: where Muslim religion and culture has spread, Sharia law has shortly followed. Of course, many Americans watch on video a Middle Eastern woman allegedly caught in adultery, buried in the ground up to her head and being stoned to death, and think that could never happen in America, but they fail to see how Sharia law has already been enabled and subtly invoked in our country, and that any induction like it is brought about by understated lukewarm changes, like a frog boiled in a kettle by a slow simmer. That's an intense comparison.
Well, that's because they don't know they're being burned.
Right.
Like if you know.
Yeah, I know what they're trying to say. It's just, wow, that's terrifying. For those who, I didn't realize I was a frog being kettled slowly in a kettle.
You're almost done, Carson.
Yeah, I'm almost done being boiled alive. For those who don't believe in that Sharia simmer, I'm writing that down.
Yes, please.
Sharia simmer. IASIMEER. Consider in just the past few months that Point 1. A Florida judge ruled that a dispute between Muslim parties could proceed under Sharia law. This case, the judge wrote, will proceed under ecclesiastical Islamic law.
Okay.
Point 2. Alabama is joining a growing list of states that are considering outlawing the use of foreign and religious laws, specifically Muslim Sharia law, in their courts. What? Alabama is joining that are considering outlawing the use of foreign and religious laws.
Wouldn't that be good for them? Anyways, continue.
Yes.
Yeah, continue.
I'm going to have to read this a couple times. Point 3. President Barack Obama's advisor on Muslim affairs appeared on a British television show hosted by a member of an extremist group to talk about Sharia law. She said the Western view of Sharia was oversimplified and that the majority of women around the world associate it with gender justice. Does she think that Sharia is the ideological bastion of gender equality? In the end, it seems to me we have a choice to believe that Sharia law is or is not a pro-Islamic system of civic, religious, moral, and social laws, which is being used to run other countries and governments, but is not being, nor will ever be, invoked to run ours, based upon the belief that our constitutional republic and Bill of Rights is inferior. That is the end of the article.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, this is just a reporting on Chuck Norris thinks that Sharia law is going to take over into our American government.
The Sharia simmer is
which is fascinating to me because I don't know if Chuck Norris is Christian. I assume he is. I don't know if he's read his Bible recently or as of April 18th, 2011.
Yes.
But there are some similar approaches to crimes, alleged crimes.
Yes.
In the Bible, New and Old Testament.
Yes.
So,
But it's different.
right, it's different because we don't follow those rules
Mm-hmm.
because we know they're barbaric.
Yeah.
And he's trying to argue that it's... So what does he suggest? I don't know what he's suggesting. Is he trying to suggest that we don't let Muslims into the country?
So wait, because the guy that wrote the article, does he also believe it's seeping in?
No,
or is
he's just like reporting on it.
I see,
he's just
I
reporting,
see,
this
I
is what Chuck Norris
see.
said, but I'm pretty sure it's BS.
Okay, good. I'm just glad. All right, but so there were some things about like judges and stuff you read. So are they allowing Sharia law? Like, what do you?
I think that's what he's arguing, that a Florida judge ruled that a dispute between Muslim parties could proceed under Sharia law. So basically, probably what happened was, the judge, and I haven't read up on this, so what it sounds like is a Florida judge said, okay, well, you guys deal with it however you want to deal with it. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yes.
I'm assuming that these Muslims adhere to Sharia law.
Okay, safe
And
to
he
say.
was like, okay, it'll proceed under Sharia law. Because that's just what you do. So there was some dispute between Muslim parties, and he was like, okay, we'll just do whatever you guys do, I guess. I have a little bit of a problem with that, because I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
I don't know what that
Did they
entails.
cut someone's hand off? Because
did
if
they
so,
bury someone alive?
that is definitely
or-
like some of the stuff that is in Sharia, or I don't know exactly what percentage of stuff in the Sharia law is illegal in America, but like I think there's like a hefty portion where it's like you can't really do that without getting in trouble here.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, what do you?
So if a judge said like, yeah, okay, just
do what you guys
whatever
want,
do
but
what
they didn't know what was going to happen,
Re-
and they later saw that exact person the next week, like, you
Okay.
cut their hand off.
Okay, yeah.
So that's where I'm a little iffy. Is like, what
yeah.
exactly?
Yeah, I'm
Didn't
a
you
little
say it was
conflicted.
debunked? So it wasn't real.
So this Brian Tashman, the author of this, the writer of this article, said in parentheses after saying that Norris's only evidence of creeping Sharia is a Florida judge's ruling upholding a religious arbitration scheme. And then after that, in parentheses, it says, make sure to read Sarah Posner's thorough debunking.
Okay,
So
it's not real or safe to say.
something's up, yeah.
Okay,
so it's
so
not
it's a little
right.
50.
And he
I'll
also
take it for
italicized only evidence. So I don't think this guy believes it.
Okay.
But I'm sure plenty of people still believe that
Yeah.
if there are Muslims, Sharia law will follow.
I think it also has to do with like they feel like if you don't hate it or if you don't want to eradicate it from this planet, you're either with us or you're with them, sort of thing. Where it's
Right,
like,
you're with us or you're against us.
it's like I
Okay.
think that's why they brought in like how the Obama's, what was it?
So that's
uh,
interesting too.
How they
So
went on like
apparently,
the talk show or some other show.
her name is Dahlia Mogahead. I'm sorry, Dahlia. I don't know how to say your name.
We
So
apologize.
she was Barack Obama's advisor on Muslim affairs, and she apparently appeared on a British television show hosted by a member of an extremist group, and that's not cited. I don't know what show that they're talking about. And she said the Western view of Sharia was oversimplified, that's in quotations, and that the majority of women around the world associate it with gender justice. I don't know who these women are who
What's
are
gender justice?
gender justice. So, have you ever watched Handmaid's Tale?
No, but continue.
So here's what happens in it. I'm not going to tell you the ending or anything. I'm just going to tell you a part that happens.
Okay.
I mean, do you know what the premise is?
Yes.
The context? Okay, so you know that the women, some women are birthers,
Yes.
breeders. So it's illegal to rape, but what they do is they don't send you to jail. They put you in front of the women who are these birthers. Their job is to have sex and give birth, to repopulate. They put the rapist, alleged rapist, whatever, in front of the women, and they beat him to death.
Oh.
So I think that's what is being talked about here. Some people may say, yeah, kill that rapist. And technically, I guess that I don't understand anything about Sharia law except that it's extreme. And I might even be incorrect. I might not really understand it because I don't read up on things like this. You know why? Because it's irrelevant. Because we don't follow that. We don't do that to people. And if we do, we suffer consequences, hopefully.
Yes. Unless you live in Florida, apparently.
I guess.
Do what you want.
I guess I should read up on more of that.
Because like, my question is gender justice bad?
It depends on what the context is, because
Okay.
if you're letting women beat a rapist to death,
see.
I don't know.
I see.
So-
I see. Okay.
So I'm really conflicted about that, because like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Well, maybe this woman obviously is a lot more educated in the subject than we are. I'm assuming.
Dahlia,
if
the
she's
advisor, yeah.
an advisor.
Miss Maga head. Miss
Then
Maga
maybe
Jib. I don't know.
we only know, I guess, like she said that it's like oversimplified. Maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
I don't know.
Maybe
Maybe
they
we
don't
do,
cut
yeah.
people's hands off for stealing.
I don't
But I
know.
feel like that's a big part
I'm
of it.
pretty sure it's probably in there, but maybe like we do just have like an oversimplified version of what Sharia law is, where it's like, yeah,
Come on,
You do anything bad-
I feel like that's what people say when you say,
Look.
but the God of the Bible like drowned all these people. I'm like, oh well, that's
Look,
you're oversimplifying.
you're
it. Like, no, I'm not. I'm
oversimplifying it.
summarizing.
there
There's
was
a difference.
there's more factors that you have not considered yet.
You don't know how awful these people were. They were. I feel like that's what's being said here by her, by the advisor on Muslim
advisor?
affairs. So what I want to do is I want to look up what she said.
And in what context? And what did Obama have to say about
I
what
don't
she
know.
Maybe
I
she
don't.
went
I
off
mean,
she went off script or something, and he was like,
There-
"Oh, we can't have that." Like she got back to America, was like, "Yeah, you done.
yeah, you're
stuff's in the
done. You're
box."
fired. I
Yeah.
don't even know. I don't know how long she lasted, but I do know that plenty of conservatives were crying Muslim when he was elected, and probably
Yes.
before he was elected.
Yes.
So it probably doesn't matter to them whether he disapproved of it or not, because they're going to assume in their heads
yeah.
he was for it. Because they think he's Muslim, because they're racist, because he is black. And they are like, oh, he's brown?
You're close. You're just a little
Not
off the mark.
Middle
Yeah,
East,
you're a little off the mark,
close,
a little
except
lower,
not really.
a little lower from Africa.
Yeah, a little lower, more southern, I think. And not even, because he's half, isn't
yeah,
he?
he's like half white, half
His
black.
father was Kenyan. His father is Kenyan, right?
I'm
I'm pretty sure his father's Kenyan,
I
but
know
his
he
mother
is-
is American.
Yeah, he's half.
I don't know if he's half though. I think he's just half African. I think his father, maybe his.
I know. Like,
I don't
when
know
he
what
was
his
elected,
mother
there
is.
was like people were saying he was just like half black and half white. I don't know
Okay.
if that's true,
I
but
don't know if
that's
that's
like
true
what
either.
I've always known.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
He's definitely half something.
He's
Or he's half
definitely
black.
African American for
Yes,
sure.
that is a guaranteed.
Right.
100%. Yes.
Definitely, his father is Kenyan.
Whatever else, I mean, don't know.
So yeah, I don't know what is going on there. Apparently, she said the majority of women around the world. I'd like, if that's a quote, I'd like
Whenever
to know her
people-
sources.
Whenever people say majority or this is what all people,
This
I'm like,
is
you don't say that.
you-
Don't, please. Most people think, oh, interesting.
Interesting.
What percent?
Which
51%
point
of
out these people to me who think
Yes.
that that's gender justice.
she
Are you
definitely-
talking? Yeah, this could go down a rabbit hole real fast.
She was tricked. She was asked very specific questions to get these responses. and
Yeah,
this is all
you know
ploy
what? I'm gonna look it
by
up. What is
Chuck
her name?
Norris
Dahlia.
to get this, Dahlia something or other. She was like the
She was the Muslim advisor.
yeah.
Quote on Sharia law.
Well, I mean, all I got to say, if the Sharia simmer is real, as long is there any good
She has
things
a
in
TED Talk.
Sharia law that we could possibly learn?
I don't
from?
know. You know, when
Like,
I was
we'll take the good stuff if there is any.
when I was a Christian, and I was like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with Islam, and there's not. I don't think. Just like I don't
different.
I don't
Yeah.
think there's anything wrong with Christianity. I think there are things wrong with the books
yes,
that these people are reading and living by, but I don't think there's anything wrong with them.
Mhm.
I was trying to look up some things that I could take away from. I was like, let's just look up, and this is a terrible way to do it. I was like, let's look up
Top 10 things to
top
take away
10
from the Bible.
most beautiful quotes from the Quran. And then I read it, and I was like, this is not appealing to me. Not because it was terrible quotes. It was just like, this is the same thing that the Bible says. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see a difference. So anyway, I don't know why I said that, but it came up in my head, so I said it because this is a special, and I can do that. Let's see. okay, so it says she did say that the Western view of Sharia law was oversimplified, and the majority of women around the world associate with gender justice.
Associate Sharia law with gender justice?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this. Okay, I'm just gonna read and not say anything until I'm finished figuring out what the heck
is going on here. Wow.
They called for Sharia law to be the source of legislation and said that women should not be permitted to hold a position of leadership in government. This is a long article, dear God.
Yeah.
Look, this is kind of like when I was a teenager and I asked the pastor at my church, about there's a thing in the Bible about if a woman is raped, the rapist has to marry her. And
she's yours now.
I brought that up and I was like, how is that justice? And he was like, oh, no, it's punishment for the guy. And because he has to take care of her now. And he was just going to rape her and leave, which, by the way, you don't know. It could already be her husband. Second of all.
You're married to her now.
And third of all, you're not changing the situation. You're just leaving out one person's perspective to make it sound better.
Yeah.
So just because the rapist has to marry the woman, which, let's face it, then he just gets to rape her more. Except legally. So, yeah, she's still having to marry her rapist.
Well, like, what?
It's like maybe that's what she means by quote unquote gender justice.
What if there was like, all right, you have to marry her, and in that there is like a set of rules you have to like abide by if she is your wife. I don't know if this is true, but it's like now that you have married her, she must have da 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 da, and you must provide her with
maybe,
and that is like
considered
the justice, yes, for her, and like now you will
that's
be
a contract, not a relationship.
Taken care of. Well, I mean,
maybe, but you're right. Maybe that's what she means.
So
maybe that's what she means.
That's like, I don't know if there's anything like in Sharia law where it's like you have to treat, like, even though like there are like all these things bad, is there like you have to treat women this way, or these are the standards that you have to like at least uphold. These are the bare minimum sort of things. And that's maybe where they equate it. Like, 'cause it's like associated with, it's not like that's what it is.
Well, if Sharia law is as old as I think it is.
How old do you think it is?
I think that it's Old Testament old, okay? That's what I'm talking about here. Sharia law. That's blasphemy.
I'm so
Look,
sorry.
if it's as old as I think it is, it's most likely portraying women as objects to be traded and provided for, like sheep and whatever. So no, I don't. I don't know. I don't know why we're even talking about it, Jaren. I don't even know because I don't know why. I picked
Chuck
this
Norris,
article
because Chuck Norris is trying to educate America.
In 2011 he was, and now he's like, you know
what?
what? There's no hope. But then Trump was elected, and he was like, thank God. Let's burn these cockroaches out of the ground.
I think that we all can agree that Sharia law probably is not going to make a very strong appearance in 2018 in America.
I don't think so. You know why? Because it's 2018.
I doubt it. Yeah. But if we are, we'll gladly take, if there are any things that say this is how you should treat people, we will take those things.
Yeah.
As far as the cutting off of the arms and hands, if we do
and
adopt that
burying you
stuff,
up to your
I think
neck and throwing
we really
stones at you.
need to readjust the the judicial system. The prisons would have to change. I think it's too it's too big of a change for it to simmer. This would have to be like a stone into the flames. So no worrying about that necessarily happening. But as far as the treat people this way, maybe if that's a thing, I'll gladly take it. I'll simmer if you want me to.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the third article. Okay, this was written by Jared Holtz on August 31st, 2014. Mark Taylor, Trump fired Bannon so he could fulfill God's prophecy to destroy the news media. Oh, there's a picture. Who is this? There's a picture of this guy. I don't know who he is. I wish I knew who he is. He's in a red shirt, and he's got a headset on like you and I do, and he looks serious. His face is red.
Does he have? Oh, he's counting out points, too. That's a finger.
Ooh,
anyways.
Wow, okay. He looks intense. This must be Mark Taylor.
His name is
Mark Taylor, a firefighter prophet, and conspiracy theory extraordinaire. Oh, this is why I came to this site. This is juicy. Wow. told right-wing activist Sheila Zielinski last week that he believed President Donald Trump purposefully fired Breitbart CEO and former White House advisor Steve Bannon from his administration in order to fulfill a prophetic word that called on Christians to destroy the modern news media.
Interesting.
During Zelensky's podcast last week, they all have podcasts. I love this. I need to get woke on all the podcasts out there. Taylor asked Zelensky if he could share a prophecy he claims God delivered to him in July. Oh my God,
Yes,
Mark!
please. You might want to take notes on
I'm
this.
taking notes on this.
The firefighter's prophecy.
In which God allegedly promised to clean out, writing that down, clean out the news media. Drain the swamp. Got him. And restore it. Maybe that's where Trump got it. Like they heard him say no, because that was after.
It was after. Yeah.
But this was in July, so this was before he. No, it wasn't.
I don't know.
I don't. He doesn't say what
When,
year
yeah,
in
what
July,
year.
or maybe it's the month prior. Probably. Anyway, clean out the news media and restore it with righteous people.
Oh.
Taylor's prophecy also included God questioning millionaires and billionaires who are not buying out these new news outlets and taking control, and urging them to move into my news media. Taylor said that Bannon, who has recently weaponized the Breitbart news website to attack White House staff he believes are jeopardizing Trump's Make America Great Again agenda, is fulfilling that prophecy. Look what happened with Steve Bannon, Taylor said. Steve Bannon literally just went out when he left the White House and met with the Mercers, the billionaires, because they're thinking of going against Fox News to expose all of this stuff. Trump is so smart, it's incredible.
Is that a direct quote?
That is a direct quote by Mark Taylor. I think it was purposefully done this way to bring Bannon. I think it was purposefully done this way to bring Bannon in, let him see the inner workings of the beast. I love when they bring revelations into this, and see who the beasts actually are, and then come out and then wage war against them on the outside. End of article. So what I'm interested in is, who does Mark Taylor think is the enemy?
That's what I'm saying. The billionaires or
The people who are generally on his side of things? The billionaires, Fox News.
I think he's saying the enemy would just be news. Like
general.
like clean out the swamp, but this time the swamp is news. Like
Okay.
mainstream news.
So he thinks
God
that God's
using
main
billionaire,
priority, or one of
yeah.
his priorities right now, is to come to this man and say,
Firefighter
I
prophet, yes.
I want my own news station.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
what
think,
God wants right now. He wants his own news station.
I feel like God's not that specific. He says clean it up.
Clean
and if
it
he
up.
gets a new station in the process, I don't think he's gonna like be mad at that.
I guess.
You know, the only way to clean it up is to buy the swamp. We got to bulldoze over. We got to make this
You
into
gotta burn it to the ground.
yes, and make a mall. So I like how he's saying that. Did he say he was something about like millionaires? Like, why haven't they bought everything yet? All the rich Christians in the world. What are you guys doing?
Mm-hmm.
Buy out all the bad things and make them good.
Oh yeah.
And if that were to happen, then Janet, you might want to be a little worried, because I think people would start going for the churches. But that's all I'm saying is he saying that they should?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
he's. Let me read this
Like, what are you
again.
guys
Taylor
doing?
asked Zelensky if he could share a prophecy he claimed God delivered to him in July, in which God allegedly promised to clean out the news media and restore it with righteous people.
Okay.
Taylor's prophecy also included God questioning millionaires and billionaires who are not buying out these news outlets and taking control, and urging them to move into my news media.
So God was like, you guys,
so
what are you guys doing?
So God started in the beginning with
I'm going to do
bring
this.
your children to me, and now it's move into my news media.
Well, look, times are changing, Carson.
right.
There wasn't a Fox News
I mean,
back
you're
when
right.
Jesus was around, so it was give me
bad
your
for that.
children. I so,
That would have been fun, huh? That would have made things exponentially more interesting, I think. Can I say that? Exponentially more interesting?
I think so. I just want to
I'm
know
gonna
what would
say
be
it 'cause it's my show.
broadcast to everyone to watch on a particular day, but that's beside the point. So, times are changing. God obviously is like, all right, news is now a new problem. So we need to take care of it. I'll actually take care of it. But while he was going to take care of it, he kind of did like a double take and was like, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 8 billion billionaires that all like me. He's like, what are you guys doing, my homie? He's
all
like, yeah.
me.
He's like, why don't you all go out there? And then he was like, you know what I'm going to do? He went to the administrative side of things. Like, I'm not going to do a thing. Pulled out his laptop. Opened up his email. And he CC'd every billionaire that's a Christian and said, hop on it. And we'll see what happens next.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I
I don't
jealous
blame
that
him.
I'm not CC'd in that as well. I guess because I have no power.
You have
and
no
I
power,
also don't
nor,
like him.
Yeah. I don't think you're even in the email
I'm not
list.
even in his list anymore.
Yeah,
He
his
definitely
mail list,
deleted and
no.
blocked me.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he does not like me. We're talking about the Old Testament God, right?
I like to think they're one and the same.
Is that what you like to think?
He's just like, he's gone through phases. Like, I'm pretty sure you went through a phase when you were in high school or something.
You're
I
right,
don't
I
know.
did.
Like, he's still, even though like time
I
is
did.
very,
I would say I did.
forever,
I did
yeah.
definitely go through an Old
I'm
Testament
pretty sure
Carson
an all-powerful
phase.
being can still go through phases, I would assume. Maybe that's why we go through them, because we're made in his image.
Hey, maybe.
He goes through phases, we go through
We go
phases.
through
So
phases,
maybe
right.
the Old Testament was just a phase. I don't know.
he was
Maybe.
a teenager.
I like to
You know, I
imagine.
wanted to drown some people when I was a teenager.
Look, you don't know the whole story. You weren't there.
No, I did. I'm saying I did. I wanted to drown a few people. I wanted to whip a few
oh my
people.
God, Carson.
Yeah, why not?
Red flag. I will be watching you thoroughly.
Yeah,
next
Jaren's an
couple
RA, so he could actually write me up for.
I'm a mandatory reporter.
Endangerment.
I'm gonna have
He's a mandated
to.
reporter.
You're a
Yeah.
student of concern.
Wow. Okay.
No, yeah. I just
Interesting. So God came to this guy.
think- Well, you know, doesn't God like to speak through fire? He's a firefighter, so it makes
Firefighter
sense.
prophet.
I'm
There's
assuming-
a link to that.
So my
Let's
question
see what
is
the
he
firefighter
a
prophet is.
fighter that also happens to be a prophet, or is this like
Let's
a
see
whole
what he
category?
means by that. Because that came to a whole different article. Oh my God, here's Mark Taylor. He's a retired firefighter.
There it is. All right.
Okay, Mark Taylor's demon-filled predictions for the U.S. Okay, so it's like
Yeah, it's like it's
so like
it's
he
his
gets
title,
told
his
this stuff all the
self-appointed title.
time. So
Yes.
he has a direct window into our future.
I think it has to do with all the fire he
I
saw.
think we should sit him down in a lab.
No.
I think we should. I think
God
we should
wouldn't
sit
like
him
that.
down in a lab and wire him up and try to see what he's seeing so that we can. We don't want demons popping out. I already have
Look.
enough problems. My braces are scratching the inside of my mouth. I'll have permanent scars for the rest of my
you
life.
wanna
I
know-
don't need demons knocking on my door.
If you want to know what this man's thinking,
Yeah.
just ask. Apparently, he's
I will.
not.
I'll email him and be
he's not
like,
keeping any
so, these demons.
Bet he'll
I
send
assume
you.
I'm going to hell. So
Don't put that in the
can
email.
you just? I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Taylor.
No.
I'm certain that I will
No,
be.
Don't do that.
I
That's
will
not
meet.
that's not the way to
these
get the information.
Friends
you're
of
looking
yours.
For. I don't
That's
think they're his
amazing
friends.
that he has a direct line to God
Yes.
and what God wants for America.
Well, someone has
Good
to
for
know.
him.
Someone has to
That's
be there.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He's just there. He's helping.
Right.
I'm down.
Good for him. What a good man. What a fascinating story. Good for him.
All right, I can sense your sarcasm, and I'm honestly offended. This guy, first of all, can we call retired firefighters veterans or no? He
Veteran. I think
he's
so.
a vet
I don't know why
firefighter.
not, because they do some intense.
Yes.
They deal with some intense
He's
situations.
gave his life.
And I'm
for
not
I don't
being
know
sarcastic
How many
about that.
years to keep people alive, and maybe God saw how good of a person he was,
And he was like, you know what? Since you already deal with fire on a daily basis.
and he talks through fire sometimes in the Bible.
Yeah,
it's
that's right, because the
depicted,
burning
yeah.
bush.
Burning
talks through
bush.
the burning bush.
Maybe he went in on
Burning
a
bush.
job one day, and God was like, "Hey, Mark,
Mark
what's his
Taylor?
name? Taylor.
God was like, what's your name?
He
Matthew.
was like,
Mark.
Taylor.
Sorry.
All right, look, I know you're not Taylor. He was like,
Mr.
Taylor,
Taylor.
leave
Sir
all this
Taylor.
behind, become a prophet, and that's when it all started to happen.
This Mark Taylor seems popular. There's also another related article that says Mark Taylor, Freemasons and Illuminati are using a special frequency to change DNA and make people hate Trump. Wow. Just blew me out of the
in
water.
a world where we've been to the moon, I wouldn't put it past them.
Well, but have we been to the moon?
Does the moon even exist?
Because if he's a conspiracy
I
theory
see.
extraordinaire, I will
Is
assume.
the world flat? Honestly, so many new questions have opened up with that one article.
You know, I was watching a clip of why regular people suddenly became flat earthers. Yes,
What
that's a
was it?
thing.
Oh no, we have one in our building that is a flat earther. Yes. He believes the earth is flat. I have yet to meet this kid, and I am thoroughly awaiting it, but yeah. He believes the earth is flat.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Anyway,
I wish I
so
was that dedicated.
I should bring him on the show.
Please.
I was watching a clip about like why these ordinary people suddenly became flat earthers, and it's like
What was it?
they were like, yeah, I was just clicking through some YouTube videos.
Oh no.
And they got
came on
sucked
this guy?
into a black hole.
Look.
That's what I'm
What we
thinking.
really
This
need to
Mark
be
Taylor
talking about
is. Mark Taylor is a
is
wonderful black hole bunny
how
rabbit
YouTube,
hole.
The film industry, and we can even lump news in there. They're brainwashing all of us, and that's something we need to talk about. If you want proof, you should just listen to what Carson just said. Regular people with jobs. This firefighter probably is one of these people who was roped into something.
Jobs.
They all
They didn't
had
specify what their jobs were.
It doesn't matter. They had them. They all had prior commitments. I like to
Uh-huh.
imagine them. Some of them had families. And it's like, and they still were roped into what I believe, I don't know if this is true or not, crazy ideas. So we need to focus. Let's forget the Shariah Simmer. Forget the whole, they're coming after the churches.
They are, though.
Yes.
We are. I am. Personally,
that's-
I personally am coming after your churches. You will see me outside with my bandana and my picket fence. What is it? My protesting. Just church in general.
All right. And now forget about
Carson, why don't you like church? Just in general. It's terrible.
Forget about Carson in front of your churches. Forget about, Trump and the whole news thing. We need to focus on Hollywood and what they're slowly convincing us all different things. They're just throwing. They make an idea. I'm like, you know what? Bet we can get at least 2 million people to believe this. And they just try their hardest to make these. This is a game to them. People, we need to wake up.
It works though. Like I'm laughing, but you're right.
Listen, we need to wake up and realize that. Forget the gay versus church thing. We need to worry about the us versus media thing because they're coming.
They are.
Okay,
but real talk. What the hell is going on with the news media? Literally, I hate CNN, okay? Fox News is a given. Of course, they're ridiculous. CNN, what are you doing? Like, literally,
they're in
you
on it
can
together.
watch my lovely ethics teacher, and I'm not saying that sarcastically. I legit love her. She made it an assignment to watch
the news.
Okay, wait for it. It gets better. To watch the entire President Trump's State of the Union address. We had to watch the whole thing, and then we had to watch news coverage of it from both CNN and Fox News. You know what? I got a 0 because I didn't do it. Because I was like, first of all, I can't sit through 2.5 hours of this guy.
You didn't even go back and watch like the recordings or anything?
I was going to, and then I was like, maybe I won't watch it. Maybe I'll just read it. And then I got, I didn't even get a fourth of the way through, and I was like, I can't do this. Not because it was a bad speech, but because I hate speech. I can't even take it. I can't even do it but I can't do any of it.
No, I can't imagine you.
And she also wanted us to watch like 15 minutes of Fox News and 15 minutes of CNN's coverage on it. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Not because I don't believe you when you say they're going to say completely different things and focus on completely different things, and maybe both of them are going to get things wrong, and that's fine. I believe you because I think they're both trash.
Yes.
But what are they doing? They are making things so much worse. I don't trust CNN to give me anything real anymore. Not that I really cared about them in the first place.
Help Carson.
Okay, give me some tips.
CNN and Fox News, they are just part of.
They're in it together.
They're in it together.
Why didn't she pit? What I want to ask her is, why didn't you pit MSNBC against Fox News? MSNBC is clearly on that end of the spectrum of liberal. media.
I don't know this for sure because I don't watch a whole lot of news. I'm not gonna lie.
Me neither.
But I think CNN's just more mainstream, probably. I'm assuming.
Yeah, probably.
So it was like those two are 100% in it together. Is
Fox
it even
News and CNN?
No, yeah.
Oh,
Is it news anymore? I don't know, but I can tell you one thing: greatest storytelling ever.
I could
in the
just
history
see.
of
I
the
could
world.
just see Sean. Can you picture this right now? Close your eyes.
My eyes are closed.
Sean Hannity.
I don't know who that is, but I'll imagine an old man. He's white, correct?
Of course he is.
Okay, gotcha.
He's from Fox News.
Oh, okay.
Sean Hannity.
Mm-hmm.
Anderson Cooper. You know who that is?
Ooh,
He's also white.
yes.
The Silver Fox.
Silver Fox. I'm down.
Sitting at the bar, laughing their asses off. Like, wow, did you hear what I said about Trump? And I'm not going to tell you which one of them saying
They're both
it.
from Fox, right?
No.
Oh,
Anderson
one's
Cooper's from CNN.
Gotcha.
They're just sitting together, just laughing, looking around. They're not even saying anything, actually. They're just laughing.
They're just laughing. They're looking around the bar and watching people watch CNN and Fox, and they're cracking up. Like the people don't even know. Trump isn't even president. We got him. We did it. we made it happen. They believe us. No, but it is. I don't know who's controlling what, but they are part of a bigger thing, and this all is just one big story. The battle between Fox and CNN. Are you kidding me? They're both making millions.
Yeah, absolutely.
They definitely, the owners see each other. I wouldn't be surprised if they're related in some way, shape, or form. Maybe they have like Thanksgiving together, and it's like, oh, hello, yeah. And it's just like they see each other all the time, and they have, I don't know who they hired, but they have great writers who are able to control millions of people. I just think it's fascinating.
I think it is too.
They are definitely in on it.
Absolutely.
None of it's real. Wake up, America.
You're right. Okay, let me move on to this T-shirt. Did I send you a picture of this T-shirt that I saw?
I have not seen the T-shirt.
So Parkland, Florida happened. So a kid.
Is that the shooting?
Yes.
Okay.
So a kid walked into a high school, his school that he was expelled from, and shot up his classmates.
Yes.
Okay. Terrible.
Yes.
Kids lost their lives and died. Some teachers, I think, too. Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. I don't know in this
that's-
situation did, but
No, I
they
think
do
they did.
all
Yeah,
the
they
time
do die.
in these shootings. Teachers lose their lives. Actually, yeah, a coach did, because he was protecting the students. This T-shirt, someone shared on Facebook. It says, "Dear God, why do you allow so much violence in our schools?" Signed, a concerned student. Dear concerned student, I'm not allowed in schools. God.
I mean,
Okay.
that's a
hang on.
Yes, is
Yeah,
there more?
record scratch.
That was not where I thought it was going.
Okay. I don't even know where to start. I'm so when I saw
How do you feel
this,
about it? Just tell me how you feel about it.
I'm so it's one of those moments where you're so shocked and angry that you feel numb.
I see.
Like you feel helpless because you're just so shocked. It's like this is all happening so fast. I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. I'm stuck.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. I feel overwhelmed with rage because someone comes up to you and says, "Why didn't you help me?" And you say, "Well, it wasn't any of my business." And then you throw in
Carson
and
stared at me with intense eyes for about a good 4 seconds.
And then you throw in the
something
factor
wrong.
of omnipotence, which is being there all the time, everywhere. Omniscience, which is knowing everything that is going to happen, and everything that did happen and is happening now. And then you add in all kind and loving and generous and great and blah blah. And his response to the student who says, "Why didn't you save us?" is, "Well, maybe you deserved it."
Look,
and people are going to be like, "That's not what he's saying." It is what he's saying, okay? It is exactly what that means. I'm not allowed in schools. What you're saying is, what they mean is, here's what they mean. Just let me finish. What they mean is that Bibles aren't allowed in schools, which is not true. You can absolutely carry your Bible around and read it whenever and however you want.
Yes.
It is not allowed for a teacher to stand up and force you to pray in the middle of class.
Yes.
Okay? You are allowed to pray in class. You are not allowed to force other students to pray. Okay? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. In private schools, though, all of those things are included. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's like saying, Well, no one sees the Catholic schools being shut up, do we? You want to know why?
Why,
Because God's allowed in schools. Bang! I have never been so upset with, and I know that reasonable Christians who look at this, they'll be like, what is the matter with you? This literally just happened, and that's your response?
Yeah. Yep. I agree. It is. Yeah. I think whoever made the shirt, yes, you should be extremely angry at them. But God's just like, I didn't know he was gonna. There's not.
You didn't know.
Like, no. So look, I don't. The guy that made the shirt, right? Don't. I gotta like that's.
I can't believe that someone put this on a shirt and then someone saw it, took a picture, and shared it. Not even a day had gone by, Jaron, and this was up there.
How do you think they mass produce shirts like that?
Well, I mean, it's good advertising for sure because I shared it and I hate it.
Well, no, it's you're becoming aware.
Yeah.
We're informing people. But yeah.
I want to be clear and say that I don't think there's a God out there who's saying these things. Okay, I don't think.
You had me scared before, Carson. I was like, oh my God. I was like, God didn't even make that shirt, and she's so upset.
Didn't even make that shirt.
He was just like,
look,
kid just made
look,
it. I don't know.
I don't think that. I don't believe that there's a God. Okay, sure, whatever. Because I just don't. Whatever. I'm not gonna go into that right. I'm not gonna go into that right now. Okay. We can do that later.
It's another podcast.
I don't think that's happening. Okay. I want to be clear to everybody. I don't think that there is an actual literal God who's looking down and being like while a child who just lost his frickin' classmate, best friend, brother, sister, whatever, is praying to this God, and then that God is saying back to him, "Well, I'm not allowed in school, so I couldn't do anything about it."
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening. I do think that people cook this up because they have no empathy and because they like to. I think the main motivation of these people is conversion. I don't think they care who it hurts and how soon it is after a mass shooting tragedy. I don't think they care. And I don't think most people who will look at this will consider the fact that what they're saying to the people who lost their children, their brother, their sister, their aunt, uncle, mother, father, classmates, I don't think they understand that they just said to those people, well, if you were a Christian, maybe it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But that is what it's saying. Yeah, it is. Jaron nodded.
Vigorously.
And that's disgusting. I'm not surprised because I know that there are people out there who legit they really think that it wouldn't have happened if you were a Christian.
I'm surprised that they made the shirt so soon. Like I didn't even know you came.
I don't think it was. I don't think this was like a recent shirt that was made. It looks kind of old.
Okay.
So it's. School shootings have been happening for a while now.
True. So that's just a shirt they break out every time.
Sure. Yeah. That's just something they're like. Well.
I see. This just happened. I guess I can wear like.
I wanted to address this because I saw it and I shared it immediately because I was so hot with anger that I was like, I'm gonna talk about this on my show. And people, I think some people were confused. They were like, "Wait, do you agree with this?" Because I got all sorts of mixed reviews.
Like,
no, I was just like, I guess you'll have to listen to the show. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And you know what? I got so many mixed responses. Like, I got people, I think people thought, like, people who know me were, like, concerned. They're like, wait a minute, Carson, what are you saying?
Yeah, Carson, are you
I'm
okay?
like, you're going to have to listen to find out. I am so, just so you know, no, I don't agree with this. I think it's barbaric. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's inhuman to respond to a tragedy like that with this. And I think if you agree with this, there's a problem. There's really a problem. There's really a problem with your insight and with your empathy for other people. If you think that that's an appropriate response to a tragic school shooting. I don't care. I don't care if you're an atheist and you say this kind of thing. I don't care. You do not respond to someone who is hurting with, well, maybe you should be more like me and this kind of thing wouldn't happen to you.
Yeah.
Or, well, maybe you should let me impose my religion on you and then this wouldn't have happened to you. Ridiculous. I don't...
She's just odd. She's lost for words.
I am at a loss for anything else to say on the matter other than ew. This is...
Can I see the shirt? I want to see the
Yeah,
shirt.
here you go. See, it's not a very well-made shirt. Like, it's just big block letters. It's, like, different fonts, and it's just weird. And, like, I love that God is cursive because he's fancy.
You
and he
know.
has one... But somehow, when he actually writes things, it's different.
There are a lot of things wrong with this shirt.
You're right.
First of
If
all,
not just the pure
letter
design.
written by the concerned student is in Comic Sans, and I don't
Yeah.
really want to get into that. But but yes, I do think whoever made that, I don't know exactly what their thought process was.
Yeah, that's
but
ridiculous.
it wasn't complete. If that makes sense.
No, it wasn't. Dear concerned student, I'm not allowed in school. That is so
That
callous?
Because it's weird, because it's like, it's God, he's a God of love, but then you got like stuff like that where
Dear
clearly
student. It's so
shows that
doesn't
he
even
doesn't
say
care, sort of thing. Yeah.
this God who's supposed to be so personal and so loving writes back to this student whom he's supposed to know personally, every last hair on his head.
Use his name.
Dear concerned
Use their
student,
name, yeah.
I'm not allowed in schools, so it's not my problem.
Granted,
I have to add that. I have to add
What?
it's not my problem, but that's what it's implying.
No, yeah.
That it's not his problem because you somehow deserved it because you don't worship me.
And I would like to think if a concerned student is writing a letter to God, then they therefore believe in him, which is a little weird for me, because then it's like, well,
I mean, you know
what I
this
mean?
is-
Like,
yeah.
Like, it's like, well, if I believed in you, sort of, you know, it's like, it's a little weird. But
Right. Well,
I
mean,
hope
that's not.
that any Christian.
Let me try to
wouldn't-
explain what this shirt is saying a little better. Dear concerned student, I'm not allowed in schools. So this student is asking, it's, you know what this is? It's the problem of
Yeah.
evil. It gets brought up all the time, and there's always the same response. I've already gone over it. So this student is asking, why do these evil things happen? And God's response is, well, because it's not my world. It's not, like, maybe not necessarily it's not my problem, but, like, my hands are tied. I don't know what to do. So it's just what a callous, aloof, just awful response to kids and women and men and children being shot up.
Yeah.
It makes me upset and, like, not just angry, but, like, sad, because I know people who are related to me who think that this is okay, who think that that's a good response to have to someone. And I can't wait to bring someone in here. I want to have someone in here to talk about this gun violence issue, because the first thing that I thought when the Parkland shooting happened was, here we go on Facebook with the Facebook debates and the memes and the tacky, like, block letters over the videos about arguments for or against gun control, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's really talking to each other. So I'm going to bring someone on here, and I'm going to talk to them about it. I'm going to bring someone on here who thinks differently than me, and we're going to argue, because Facebook is not the place to do that. I'm sorry, but it's just not. So even I don't really care if you're for or against gun control. Like, if you're sharing memes on Facebook and getting into fights with people on Facebook about it, stop. Because you're not doing anything. I know you feel like you're doing something because you get a couple likes. You're not changing anything. Okay? None of you are. You're just making people angry, and you know that you're making people angry, and it makes you feel good. I mean, not everybody. Some people, I think, they really think they're making a difference by getting into a Facebook fight with their grandpa. You are not. So I'm going to bring someone on here and hopefully get to the bottom of why people are so defensive about weapons instead of something else, like, I don't know. We'll get into that later. But anyway, so I wanted to bring this up because I told people I would talk about it. And there is my response to that. My response is definitely a lot of words and a lot of cuss words. It makes me very angry and upset that someone thinks that's an appropriate thing to share or even, yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything to say on that shirt, Jared? I kind of took that because I really wanted to say that.
Ew.
Yeah, ew.
Gross.
Disgusting.
I know there was I was on Twitter and that around, and I think like I forget what news organization tweeted something about how like the students went to like protest. They kind of like left class or whatever and stood out and had like a walkout sort of thing. And then I was going down in the comments that just because I hate myself apparently.
Yeah.
But
I have to get on Stephanie about it. She gets in fights with people now on Facebook.
I was just like,
stop
oh,
it.
this is not something I probably should be doing, but I'm gonna keep scrolling.
All right.
And there was an all caps post, and this
God.
brought this. I perked up. I was like, well, I'm interested.
Hey, of course you do. That's the
And
point.
they
Pay
were
attention to my opinions.
screaming about how schools don't teach you anything. And it was like this whole like conspiracy theory type, like don't send your children to Ivy Leagues. It's all a trap. And then they had the word excellent, right? And they crossed out the E and the X, and it was like silent. It was amazing. I'll have to show you. I screenshotted some of it.
Does sound interesting.
I can't find his Twitter anymore. I tried to like look it up, couldn't find it. I don't know where he went, but it was talking about how like it's all part of misinformation.
He probably thinks that
America's
Twitter. Wait a minute, he's a conspiracy theorist who has a Twitter.
Well, I don't know. He doesn't have one apparently anymore,
Okay.
but I couldn't find it.
I just say that because like if you're a conspiracy theorist and you think that everyone's out to get you, why do you have social media at all?
To spread the word.
I guess to spread the word, but like they know you're spreading the word.
But he deleted it, and I think he made a new one. That way he can't be tracked by the government. But no, yeah, it was talking about how Ivy Leagues and school institutions in general are misinforming our students and our children, and we shouldn't let them go to school.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, America.
Anyway, well, this has been very enjoyable. I hope you have fun, Jared. Did you have fun? I had some fun.
I had some fun.
I got to air some stuff out. I got to laugh at ridiculous thought processes.
And I'm just going to let you know, people
What's
that
up?
wrote these articles, I'm almost sort of kind of not really right there with you. Like Janet, I feel your fear.
But not really.
But like, girl, you need to. No one's coming for the church. Like your therapy thing, maybe, I don't know.
Definitely,
but the church
hopefully,
is fine.
yes, absolutely. We're coming for gay conversion therapy.
But what
absolutely
if she's just like her spiritual?
You should absolutely be scared if that's what you cherish.
But she's just looking for her spiritual thing. Like she's not down with the whole like conversion therapy, but that's just like tacked on the side. She's
that's
like
fine.
more part
then
of the
let us take
thing.
it away because we don't need it and it's harmful and terrible.
She's standing by. It's okay, Janet. Things will be okay for you, hopefully. I say
She's
that.
got her own podcast.
Like,
She's doing fine.
But then I'm like, I hope that doesn't mean that conversion therapy thrives. I just look.
No,
Janet, never mind. All right,
for the sake of Janet, I'm leaving you alone.
I'm leaving you alone, Janet.
It's best that we don't be friends. Okay. Well, I've had a lot of fun. I hope that you have too. I hope that it was a little comic relief. If you ever get tired of the Facebook rants, I hope you enjoyed my rant. I hope you enjoyed our jokes. This is CoalitionM signing out. I will see you very soon. Thank you.